This month was pretty weak for first time watches, but really strong for rewatches. The month started out well with a rewatch of one of the best films ever made, Schindler's List. This movie is everything that I love about cinema wrapped up in 3.5 hours. While it isn't a perfect film, something about its flaws only make it better in a strange way. Next was an animated French film called Chicken for Linda. This movie was charming as hell. Chicken for Linda tells the story of a mother and daughter healing their relationship while going on a wild adventure in the city. The animation was unique and beautifully simplistic, and the story was heartwarming and funny. After that was another extremely charming film called It Happened One Night by Frank Capra. Released in 1934, this film is basically the blueprint for all romantic comedies that would follow. It is timeless in both its romance and comedy. But the good times were not to last. Night Swim is one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen in my entire life. The premise alone invokes eye rolls. The idea of a haunted swimming pool sounds like something that Stephen King would come up while high out of his mind, but later scrap because it was too dumb even for a cocaine Stephen King book. Next was Deadpool and Wolverine, which is perfectly serviceable. It definitely scratched that Deadpool itch, but it wasn't much more than just another Deadpool movie. While funny and creative, it's by no means reinventing the wheel. Taking a 180-degree turn from Deadpool and Wolverine, I rewatched one of the best queer films ever made, with Celine Sciamma's Tomboy. Tomboy is a delicate and thoughtful exploration of identity, childhood, and gender fluidity. For me, Tomboy is the best film about the gay experience. It forgoes any shocking or easy messages and focuses on a realistic and relatable story. The film, set during a warm summer, follows 10-year-old Laurie, who moves into a neighborhood and introduces herself to the local children as Mikel, a boy. What unfolds is an intimate, unhurried story about the freedom of self-expression and the fluidity of identity, particularly when you're younger. Sciamma's direction is subtle and sensitive, allowing the viewer to experience the world through Laurie's perspective without judgment or over-explanation. After that, I wrapped up a miniseries I started last month. Unbelievable is one of the few pro-police pieces of media I loved watching. Seeing two detectives fight to have rape cases taken seriously was both heartbreaking and inspirational. Kaitlyn Dever and Toni Collette were both utterly transcendent as two of my new favorite characters of all time. Merritt Wever provided the heart of the series with some award-worthy skill and subtlety. All around, just an amazing piece of work. Train to Busan was a film I had seen around half of, but never got to finish. Damn, what had I missed out on? This movie is my new favorite piece of zombie media, which isn't saying much, but it's still fantastic. Train to Busan is a thrilling and emotionally charged zombie film that reinvigorates the genre with its focus on humanity amidst utter chaos. Set aboard a speeding train during a viral outbreak, the movie follows Soo-wook and his daughter as they fight for survival against hordes of fast-moving infected passengers. The film masterfully balances heart-pounding action with poignant character development and drama, exploring themes of sacrifice, morality, and parental love. Its claustrophobic setting intensifies the tension, while its well-drawn characters make the stakes deeply personal, culminating in a powerful and bittersweet conclusion. I'm a big fan of both Lego Movie 1 and 2, as well as one of the greatest pieces of comedy ever created called the Lego Batman movie, so something like the Lego Ninjago movie is right up my alley. Sadly, this is the worst of the Lego movies so far, but that says less about this movie, more about the high standard these films have set for themselves. The Lego Ninjago movie is still fun and beautifully animated, with some of the best choreographed fight scenes of all time. After that was one of my most anticipated films of 2024, Kinds of Kindness. After Poor Things, I was very excited for what Yorgos Lanthimos was going to do next, and while Kinds of Kindness wasn't perfect, definitely scratched my itch. Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone deliver standout performances across multiple roles, grounding the unsettling narratives in deeply human emotions. Each story reveals different forms of manipulation, from a desperate man trapped in corporate life to a grieving husband obsessed with his wife's identity, and finally, a cult searching for someone who can raise the dead. Lanthimos' signature, bizarre, and unsettling style keeps viewers questioning reality and morality throughout. There are some movies that never get old, and one of those is Psycho. This has been, and always will be, a masterclass in suspense and psychological horror, which defines the entire genre. The tension is brilliantly constructed through Hitchcock's meticulous direction, Bernard Herrmann's unforgettable score, and the film's groundbreaking narrative twists, most notably the infamous shower scene, make this film a classic. With its chilling atmosphere and exploration of the darker side of human nature, Psycho remains a timeless, spine-tingling thriller that continues to captivate and shock audiences. The Steamroller and the Violin is the first film directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, and is a tender, poetic story that contrasts the innocence of childhood with the harshness of the industrial world. While very different from his later work, The Steamroller and the Violin is an interesting look at where this filmmaker started. Next was a film by a director I have very mixed feelings about. Park Chan-wook's The Handmaiden is a visually stunning and delicately crafted psychological thriller that masterfully weaves together deception, desire, and dangerous power dynamics. Set in the 1930s Japanese-occupied Korea, the film follows a conman's plot to defraud a wealthy heiress through her new handmaiden. But the twisting, layered narratives reveals that nothing is as it seems. The movie has so much for me to love, from the cinematography to the beautiful period production design. But this film falters in some areas that are consistent with Park Chan-wook. Too much sex and darkness. Twists can work without relying on shocking content. In this respect, The Handmaiden does feel a little self-indulgent. Last but not least, this month was another rewatch of Hereditary. What is there to say about this film that hasn't been said 1,000 times before? It's a near-perfect horror movie and one of the scariest movies ever made. End of story. Anyways, I hope you had a great month. I want to watch more movies in October, but I doubt I will, to be perfectly honest.